All right, we're live. Happy Saturday, everyone. I am here with my friend, my client, my colleague in Pilates. Yeah, her name's Mocha. And if you saw the intention, if you saw the description for today's live, I'm really excited about it because I've been talking about mastering the brain game all week. And the reason why is because I'm getting ready to teach another round of it. And round as in like I'll share what the deeds at the end, and I'll give like a special offer at the end as well. But I'm getting ready to teach on 111 next Tuesday. So 111 222. Numerologically, there's a reason why I chose that. But energetically, if it feels good for you right now, if you're like, oh, I can get behind those numbers. So I say this out loud because I am going to do a special offer here at the end of the live with Mocha. So if this is something like you need to come back to and fast forward to the end, it is something that is like, it's a limited offer because I like to really congratulate people that are willing, right? The willingness to like do this thing. And I think that you exemplify that willingness, Mocha. We were just talking in the back end, and we've been talking about doing this live so that we can share out into the world your transmutation and going through mastering the brain game and doing the mentorship with me, but also like the willingness to always continuously evolve in who you are. One thing I know about you, Mocha, and I know this is not only I feel it this within myself for you, but I think others do as well because they share this with me, is that you are seen as a leader. You just are. Like, you give off this energy of being empowered, as being seen as a leader. And I think where that comes from also is that you are continuously willing to go to the next level of whatever that is. And that's part of like doing this live right now, right? Where you shared with me, like, I'm really nervous. That's okay. I'm really nervous, but I'm going to do it nervous. It's that willingness, right? It's that willingness to take your life to the next evolution, the next phase, whatever that might be. And so like when we're talking about how do we get this out into the world, how we talk about mastering the brain game, how we talk about the Rise Tribe, the mentorship that I bring in with it, and what makes that different from like another thing to do, another course to take in order to, you know, bring in the clients or to get yourself from feeling whatever you're feeling into actually peace and ease and excitement eventually, and empowered and confidence. And so that's really what, like, maybe we could lead from there if you're okay with that. We're like, let's just speak into your willingness, because I think that like there's so many people right now that are probably watching this or watching this on the replay. And if you are, please comment. We would love to know who you are and send you some love. So, you know, it's the kind of like, I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to be content, so to speak. But that's not really true, right? We're vibrational beings, we're energetic beings, we're consistently moving some direction. Why not really bring it focused attention into what it is that we do desire to feel emotionally, to create in our lives? And again, it's that willingness that you have always had that sets you apart as a leader. And I know that the people come through and join my mentorship, they're leaders in their own right. And they're wanting to be even more empowered in their leadership. And so maybe if we could like just take it all the way back, think of like when we started working together, it's been about a year, right? Maybe not even quite a year. What was maybe like, what were you feeling in your life that felt like, I'm willing to jump in and do this thing? And enjoying with like the mentorship or even the Pilates, whatever it was, like when we first started working together, that drove that willingness for you?
Yeah, I think so. We originally met in 2017,
right?
And I was drawn to you then, but it was also, you were a little intimidating, but in a good way. It was kind of like, as you say, I'll have some of that, but I wasn't ready where I was at, and so it's like you just knew at times, and you would reach out, hey, do you want to do PBTT, or, you know, a couple of things that you would talk about. And I would always entertain the idea, but there was never space in my life to move forward with it. And then fast forward to a year ago, the space came when we moved, and I closed my business. And I basically said, I'm taking a year off. I'm just going to focus and work on myself. And I'm not doing anything. And I was very fortunate that I didn't have to work at all this year. And yeah, that was the best thing. So then I saw a post that you did, and it was basically, it was about money and what you were on track for to make. And I literally sat back and I went, holy shit, body worker, making 6 figures. What have I missed? And then one of my best gals, she also another massage therapist. She makes 6 figures, works way less than I ever worked in the 24 years that I did it. Didn't work on weekends, and she was doing it. So I was obviously missing something. And so that's when I really started to, it was that post. And I was like, I want to mentor with her. I don't know what she has, but I'm mentoring with her. I'll just take it. And then what was so funny is I truly didn't realize the link you sent me. I was signing up for Pilates teacher training. And I'm like, well, if this is the membership, I'll do it. And then I'm like, who's this Heather? Like, it was so crazy because you would have thought that it was so simple. And I'm literally signing up and I'm like, well, I don't know who these people are, but if she wants me to do it, I'll do it. And the next thing I know, I'm in Pilates teacher training and I get a list, you've got class coming up. I'm like, literally still, I think it was months in before I told you, I'm like, is this the mentorship? But it was just meant to be. And so it was just fascinating how that all happened. And then fast forward to, there was a lot of growth, a lot of tears, a lot of, I don't know why I'm doing this. Pilates in itself was its own, I had a lot of stereotypes and views of what I thought it was that I had to work through mentally. And then the Rise Tribe was there for support. And another girlfriend of mine, she's like, now that you're in Texas, you've got to find your new tribe. And what I realized, my whole tribe was all the clients that I had. They were my clients, the people that I hung out with every day. I spent more time with my clients than I did my family, boyfriends through the years, over 24 years. Those were the people I hung with the most. And then I would dabble and play with people on the weekends here and there. And so when I moved here, it was quite a loss. And it was like, I need to find new community. And that's what she kept saying, find a tribe that works for you. So now it's funny looking back, yours is Rise Tribe. Great. So, but then Mastering the Brain Game came. And then that really, I fought it. The first day, I'm like, what am I supposed to get out of this? I don't even, week 2, should I be learning something? None of this makes sense. Week 3. And I fought you every step of the way. But I hung in there because I went to that mentality of, well, I paid for it. I might as well stick with it. Because I didn't know why I was there or what drew me to it. And then after, I'm like, holy shit, I can't wait to teach this. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Like, that whole group of being able to teach this and bring it to people is, I'm so excited to do. And then it just unfolded. It hit me this weekend. I was thinking about that when I was little. I remember being in a parking lot in Boulder at this grocery store with my mom, and I was crying. I'm like, I don't understand why I'm on this earth. I don't understand my purpose. Why can't you just tell me why you had me? I don't want to be here anymore. What's my purpose? And my mom was just like, she's holding groceries and I'm bawling and I'm hating life. And then I did that to her again, I think in the same parking lot, looking back around in my 20s. Again, what's my purpose? What's happening? And what I realized is it literally took till this weekend of Mastering the Brain Game that I was searching for something. And that search, I just kept searching. More self-help books, more classes. I've spent tens of probably $80,000, not as much as some, in personal development and growth. And then what I would always hear is, well, we don't ever really have young people here. That's great that you're trying to figure this out early. So then I thought I was onto something. So then it was a badge to be able to spend more money to dive down this path. And what finally hit me this weekend is the reason that none of that worked and I never found anything that seemed or felt like purpose was I kept looking outside of myself for an answer versus looking within. And it hit me. And so I think that's what's allowed me to have the peace and ease, literally just even more so in the past few weeks. And then after I'm taking the Brain Game again, in the group, I believe, with your mentor and your teacher, and just being able to take it in, from a different light, as opposed to, yes, I'm still learning, but I'm not trying to learn and develop, even though that's happening, but I'm in a different place. So yeah, it's just, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah. Like everything you said in there's so much to that where it feels like, I still giggle to this day that you thought you were signing up for a mentorship with me and you were actually signing up for Pilates teacher training. The reason why it's so funny to me, and I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, is that we had conversations about this is what a Pilates teacher does, and we've talked about like what you said, like you had these stereotypes of like, because as a body worker, people that were doing Pilates, and I'll put it in air quotes, were getting injured, and then they were coming into you, and you were then helping them through body work because they were getting injured in Pilates. Well, that full circle moment of you understanding that what people were teaching was actually not Pilates, and it's not regulated and I won't go down that whole rabbit trail there, but I love that, like, again, this is your willingness, right? We're like, well, I know that like this mentorship feels good. This is where I want to be. And so like if she wants me to sign up for Pilates teacher training. So that was like, it was so funny to me because like we had these like verbal conscious conversations with each other, but somewhere deep inside, like your soul was saying, just keep doing it. So you just kept doing it.
Yeah.
Full circle moment also, I feel like, was when you then announced to everyone that you've purchased like all of the Pilates equipment and you're now going to be teaching outside of your home, right? I was like, okay, again, when we met in 2017, it was at a Rossiter convention, right? Connective tissue therapy, like body worker stuff. If I would have told you in 2017 that in 4 years, not only will you completely change your viewpoint on what Pilates is, because what you've been told like actually isn't the truth for these other people, but you're actually going to have every single piece of Pilates equipment in your home and you're going to be teaching it, what would you have said then in 2017?
Oh, you did way too many drugs. It was not happening, not possible.
Right?
Never, never.
The abilities of what you're speaking into. So like what I've been writing down some notes as you're talking, like you said, like I had the space to do it, and so like you had this physical move where you moved from Colorado to Texas. So you felt like you had this spaciousness of like, let me just give myself a year to be myself, to just be and to take a breath. And what now also is like, we don't actually physically need that, but logically, when we move across state lines or we move our bodies or whatever it might be, we feel like we have this breath, this like spaciousness of, right? And like the truth is we're consistently always working on ourselves in one way or another. And so you decided to bring it into this very focus. And that was like what I put in the description here. You became so focused on what it is that you did want, the intention that you wanted to go. And whatever that was, like throw in the Pilates teacher training, but it's this direction, it's this mentorship, it's that one post that I did that gave you the like the gumption, right? That gave you like the excitement of, I want to go this direction. And that's really the way that what Mastering the Brain Game teaches you is that we don't need to keep signing up for another program, another course. Like this is it. It is like, if you want to learn how to consciously lead your business and make a lot of money, if that's your intention, you have everything like laid out there for you.
Right.
Yeah. And like the believability, and like you said, like there was me and then there was your friend that had done that, but also understanding that you don't need any evidence outside of you. And, there is a lot of self-help books and other programs and things that you can do that gives you that believability in yourself, right? I call it like the hype moment, right? You leave the retreat or you leave the weekend or you leave the book or whatever it is. And you're like so excited, you're like, I'm going to do this, right? And you write down all the intentions and you have them set out. And then like real life sets in. Right. And we really bring it all together in Mastering the Brain Game where this is your life. Mm-hmm. There's like, you don't get really hyped up, excited about it, only to get like fizzled out about it again. And so I love the 360 that you had in like the Mastering the Brain Game also of like week 1 into week 10, and literally in less than 3 months, you went from, I don't even know what the hell this is, into, oh my goddess, I have to share this with the world. I have to teach this. I have to know how to teach this because there's something inside of me that just says, like, you've transmuted, that you've changed, that you've up leveled. And then like you shared, you're going to go through it again. You're going to go through another 10 weeks. And I remember you asking me this because I gave you lifetime access to when I teach it, right? Well, would I do it again? Like why, and this is the way that I kind of set up in like everything else and all the other courses and programs is that you're done. And then like you go on with your life. Well, what they also don't teach you is like, how do you then apply this? Right? I understand what's going on. I understand where the kinks, so to speak, in the hose is. I understand the hows to even like some like parts to get there, but then like you're kind of dropped off there where we follow the exact there's a cyclical nature to humans, right? just like there is to the moon, just like there is to like everything in the universe. And we follow that cycle to fully transmute, to take you over to the other side of this. And then once you do, there's always somewhere else to go. There's always something else to be focused on to continuously up level what it is that you want to be or to have or to do in the world. And so, like you mentioned, self-help books. I was wondering, like you said, $80,000 in self-improvement stuff. That's pretty impressive. Like, what's the word I want to say? Impressive. Because I don't think, like, I don't know. I added it up last year and I spent, actually I wrote it down. Let me share with you. My accountant just told me, I might not have it here. I put it down somewhere because it was really impressive. I was like, oh, that wasn't as much as I thought it was. Yeah. And she was like, oh, that's good, because most people are like, I spent what? But it's because we understand the value of it, right? I think it was somewhere like right around $30,000. So I understand the value of that $30,000. You like, how do you put a cost on someone helping me to literally take my life to the next step, the next thing, the next physical manifestation that I want to create in my life? You can't.
Yeah. And I realize, like, we're the 30,000, 80,000, no matter what the figure is, 5,000 here or there, what it is I paid to see through the lens of someone else that had their own life experience.
Yeah.
So I'm paying to try to see through their lens and apply it to a life. And as you talk about, we're coded, we have our own unique code. And within that own unique code, I can't take bicycle tires, put it on a Honda and expect it to run. It's just not going to happen. So it got me thinking too, like, after a lot with all of it was that everything that I created great in my business is my fault. And everything that I created that wasn't so great in my business is also my fault. And more what I mean by that is that it allowed me to realize the mirrors that I created with clients, all the way from teaching Rossiter to massage clients to network marketing people, all of that. I created mirrors of the things that I wasn't working on because I didn't realize that I needed to work on me first. Even though I thought I was working on me with all of the classes, the trainings, the calls, the live events, the books, the tapes back in the day, the CDs. I have this huge CD thing of how to build this and make this better and do this in your life. And I literally have this book that came with a $25,000 program I bought one time, and you had like 50 CDs of all the events and this and that. And there were good pieces in it and you gravitated towards it. But then I realized there's also like societal pockets, like we were talking about before, of just even business, like in the body workers in general. Like I remember in your post, people were like offended, oh, Pilates teachers don't make that much. Really? Because one is, and then with my friend, massage therapist. So then when you start looking at the statistics that you and I were just listening to, that only 3% ever hit the $6 million mark, or excuse me, the six-figure mark, only 3% of businesses. So it's really easy to see how people can get this reaction of, well, I don't do it for the money, I do it for the love. And I'm rolling my eyes because I used to be one of those. And then, then what was I doing it for?
Right.
It's just those little things. So like in the world, I'd love to be able to, I still love teaching Rossiter, and I'm going to still teach it. And I'm really fucking good at it. I'm a great instructor, and I can finally say that. Like it took me a while to be able to say that, but I know I am, and I have amazing students, but now I want even more amazing students that are more attracted to me because they also want to level up in their lives.
Right.
And be stretched, how you stretch me. Like to the max.
Yeah, it's something like right around 6% of entrepreneurs will ever cross the six-figure mark. Yeah. And it's just under 3%. It might be close to 3% now that will ever cross the $1 million mark, which is like, it's pretty fascinating because, I think back to the very first year that I opened my brick and mortar. I didn't even know I could run a report in the back end of the system of how like everyone pays, online. And when I did it and I saw that I'd hit over six figures, I was like, holy shit moment, because I realized that I that wasn't my intention. My intention was to start building the studio, a beautiful surprise studio, into having impact. And the byproduct is always the money, right? Like we shared in the Rise Tribe, and we understood this from a fundamental level. Money is a resource. You are the source. Money gets experienced through you because you allow it to. And this feels like sometimes so esoterical, some metaphorical kind of stuff, but it's actually quite literal. It's very scientific. And that's what you learn in Mastering the Brain Game. That's what you learn in the folding of Rise Tribe, right? Is that the house. How do I, right? How does this happen?
Right.
And like you really understand on, again, on like this the most simplest kind of way. Like when you shared that $25,000 50 CD thing, that sounds super complicated, and that's not how the universe works. So it's so simple. This is why there's a reason why it's 1 hour a week for Mastering the Brain Game, and it's over 10 weeks. And the brain will want to like fight that. No, it needs to be 50 CDs. It needs to be like all of this stuff in order for no, it doesn't. Like,
I need to eat, sleep, and breathe all of it.
Right? Nope. It like think of the way like you mentioned the mirrors. Life is such a beautiful mirror to us. And so what you see in the world is being reflected back into you as to like your focal point. What you're seeing is a reflection as to what's going on in your subconscious. Right. And so, I love what you shared. So I'm a little distracted by this comment. So I'm just like put it up there. So I stopped looking off to the side. How can I start a productive 2022, especially doing what I love? Ooh, Facebook. You just come across this Facebook user. So if you're not registered with StreamYard, that's how you show up. So whomever you are, this is my specialty. Oh, this is my jam. The house, this is what I teach. So I led this conversation with Mocha, your willingness. And that's all it takes. I am just willing to admit out loud that whatever I have right now, what I'm feeling, what I'm doing, how I am being, is not exactly in alignment with what I know I can do, I can be, I can physically manifest into my life. And so the hows are the fillers. This is what I teach you in Mastering the Brain Game. This is what I teach you in enveloped in the Rise Tribe as well. And, as a former, like, how do I want to say, like someone that's overcome the need to be a perfectionist, right? The someone that I used to think like I need to know all of the who, what, where, whens, and whys and hows for every who. And I need to know all of the who, where's, and whys and hows for all of the whens, right? And like down the row, right? And so, and again, like I attract these kind of people to my mentorships as well, because they're leaders, but they're also like that, like we could call them type A's, which is just a label. It doesn't actually mean anything. Extrovert, introvert, again, doesn't actually mean anything. It's a label that you've given yourself, and then you've lived either up to it or that you've really tried to define being it. So thanks for asking, Facebook user. It doesn't say your name, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link as to how you can join us. We start just in a few days. And so, like this is a really fun exercise. Are you ready? I wasn't planning on doing this, but for everyone that's watching right now and for Mocha, like think of as you're watching this right now, and like whether you're here with me live right now, and I can see there's a few of you, so thanks for being here, or on the replay, everything that we've shared so far, if I could tell you there was something so simple that I have mastered replicating over and over and over again. We literally just had someone in the Rise Tribe today when I was teaching share that I helped her to manifest her dream home in 10 months, right? So like these possibilities, they're literally possible. This is what I teach you. So like, if you could have this, are you willing to be curious enough to sign up and like take me on this 10-week journey? Let's do this. I don't know, like maybe I might be a little bit like Mocha in the first week, 1, 2, 3, but I'm at least curious and I'm willing. And if I told you how to make a decision in the next 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, the first thing that you would say, like, yeah, I don't know, but like my first inkling was yes. Then you follow that inkling. The more you follow the gut intuition of yes, and then if the ego comes in, the mind comes in and starts telling you all of the reasons, well, I don't have the space yet. I'm going to say that because you said that. Or I don't have the XYZ, or I don't have the time. All of that is the ego, and it's not true. It's just not. If you have the willingness, if you have that gut intuition, that instinct, when you follow that, everything else starts to unfold. And so that's really what those that I teach. That's that willingness to come out of the head, drop into the heart. Does it feel right? Does it feel like this could be something that I could progress with, that could help me to layer in my intentions for 2022? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when you first put when you did your first mastering the brain game, and I was like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And then you reminded me of that 3 weeks in when I was fighting it.
Yeah.
Because there's itchy, scratchy moments, because it's taking accountability for who and what you are and not stepping outside of you. It's truly just, learning to like who you are, really. And maybe that's it. Maybe in the past I didn't like who I was, but I didn't know how much I didn't like who I was. So I surrounded myself with everything but myself.
Yeah.
And I could be quiet by myself. I could be in the quiet, and I enjoyed time away from everyone. I wasn't not able to be, but it's the thoughts that you have when you're by yourself. It's what you do at that time as well.
Right. Yeah. When no one else is, that really speaks into what we were saying at the beginning, that, a lot of the people that are attracted to me, and they're not all entrepreneurs. Some of them are, there's people in corporate, there are people that are stay-at-home moms. And so the people that are really attracted to me, though, also have this persona of being a leader. And so a lot of them happen to be entrepreneurs as well, or they happen to be, high execs in the corporate field, and or they're leading their home. And so they have this persona, but they don't necessarily feel like that on the inside. Right. And a lot of them don't realize how much they are actually perceived as a badass, as a leader on the outside. And there's that disconnect, just like you were saying, where I know that I have the position, I know that I have the business, but it's not producing the way that I really desire it to produce. And so we feel like we're kind of caught on this hamster wheel of doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And nothing changes, right? Nothing evolves, nothing moves in the way that you want it to, or that you really desire for it to move. And so it's really like, that's what I meant when I said in 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Sometimes I'll do this with people and they'll say, yes, like put me in, yes, I want it. And I'll just let them sit there in it and bask in it, because what will happen is they'll get back in their heads about it. They'll get back into the ego, and that's okay. But it helps me to understand where they're at, so that, the people that, like you said, this was a yes, put me in, and I'm going to fight it, but I'm in. So that there's the line, right? There's the line that you step over when you understand this is something different. And this also, the way that I mentor, I will call you on your bullshit. I will call you on what's happening, like right, to be really PC and super professional about it, I will call you on your bullshit.
But the part that I love about that is you have a way of doing it that still provides choice. Mm-hmm. Versus my mentors of the past have been like, well, here's what you should do because it worked for me. So again, I'm paying for the lens based upon, okay, I did the thing and the thing didn't work. Right. And I think that's why I love Rossiter, because it gives back the voice that's been lost because you did all the things of all the other stuff that never worked. So it literally helps you to refine the voice that was once lost for the multiple reasons, on that. Yeah. But it also makes you rip off. I think the part that I love is it makes you rip off all the labels and all the badges that you were like, yeah, right? Like, I worked hard, or you have to work hard, or to get what you want, you have to hustle. I mean, all of those. You talked about cleaning up social media, and I did absolutely unfriended, deleted, unfollowed, got out of groups when I started looking at them differently. And now even the other step of it, I don't want to see posts that people post about business, about it being hard or being a hustle, or I've got to just struggle through today because tomorrow's bad. Like, all of those things, they're just not true, but I can at least recognize them now. And it might be a cute magnet that was cool to me, up until 2 months ago, but those magnets, they're not who I am now. And I'm glad that I can recognize that. It doesn't make me any better than anybody else. It just is my own evolution of myself and who I am. And that's what I love. And so that's why I think everybody needs the Mastering the Brain game, and not just specific industries, truly everyone, and it will make you see things differently. I mean, there's people right now that see the world and we're like, oh my God, we're losing our freedoms and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't see any of that. Not because, am I aware that there's interesting things happening in the world? Sure. Does any of it bother me or bring me fear? No. I just have the knowledge, but I have also, I'm in charge of my own place and space and how I choose to show up in the element that is around me.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm also grateful for the Rise Tribe on top of that with the Mastering the Brain game, because within that, it's not about, people are all still going through the world events, but we are not, we're choosing to see and understand and learn from what's happening versus like, I'm just going to like isolate, be in a hole, everything's falling apart, and take on things and take on emotional vibrations that don't serve us. Then we complain when it shows up in our business because we're not looking at it as a mirror. Well, I've got cancellations, people no-showed me, what is wrong with these people? Half my clients are sick. Okay, well, what's going through your mind that you're creating all of that?
Yeah.
So
I know. And for anyone that's like,
now you got me on the roll.
I know. And like, because you've really transmuted and you've come to the other side and you understand this. Not only like the way that I teach is the very spiritual, it's the heart-led kind of way, but everything I teach also is really scientifically found. So everything that you're saying there, for someone that might be watching this, me like, there's no connection there. Like, I don't understand why X, Y, and Z. Again, we teach this in Mastering the Brain game, right? This is like why we're talking about this here. And you said something where like, I just want to touch on what you said, like Facebook and social media. Sometimes I'll see this where people will say, I'm taking a break from social media, or I took a break, I feel so much better, now I come back. Well, what you're really doing is you're then telling yourself when you come back that now I'm not worth taking a break. I'm not worth, because when I take a break, I feel so much better, but then I come back to it. And then you come back to it and the subconscious, your soul is saying, so we're not worth taking a break anymore. We're not worth feeling good anymore. When really social media is part of our future. This is like, we're literally here in social media and we're spreading something so incredible, like talking about Mastering the Brain game. And so if social media doesn't light you up, if it doesn't give you like, a little bit more of like oomph, I want to say again, of prosperity of what's out there, then clean up your social media, because that's a beautiful mirror into what's going on in your inside, what's going on in your head, what you're thinking, your thoughts. You're seeing it in your social media feed, right? So if you feel like you need to take a break from it, then do that. But if you decide to come back to it, clean up your social media. I had one client who literally unfollowed her mom.
Yeah.
Because it's the whatever it's going to take for you, right? It doesn't need to be that drastic. But like you said, it's proximity. And that's the Rise Tribe. It's who am I putting myself in proximity to? Because like I said, when I did that first post and I talked about making over 6 figures in the first year of teaching, and at the time I only taught Pilates and it was only myself. I didn't have the big team that I have right now. I didn't have all of the other things that I'm teaching right now also. And I hit over 6 figures. And when I talked about it, the other people in my life, the other Pilates teachers, they were giving me conservative figures like 80 grand, and the other teachers were like, yeah, you could say 80 grand because that's about what like my teachers are making. That's about what I made. And so I felt conservative in saying, I think that the term that I said, and we can look back on the old Facebook post, I think it was like 80,000 I said was like the average. So when that was like the median, right? Feeling conservative in talking about making over 6 figures, because that's the proximity that I've been in. That's my reality. That's the view. When we talk about like 2020, when so many studios, we were mandated to close for over 8 months. I made more money. The studio made more money. I made more money in 2020 than I did in 2019. And I consistently have made more and more and more, because money is the byproduct of the impact I am creating in the world. That's what I teach. So if you don't want it to be money and you want it just to be more impact, great. But like you said something a little bit ago where you talked about the people who said, I did this post where I said, who wants to know how I made over 6 figures in my business, right? And I don't know if you're referring to this or not, where like some people were like, well, just tell me about how you you changed people's lives. Well, yeah, I can do that, but I'm also telling you that money is the byproduct. So for people who only want to do it for whatever it might be, that's great. But I'm telling you, I can also help you to physically manifest, like literally, like who I haven't got permission from her to say this out loud. People will do a live with her, but she manifested her dream home in 10 months. So those are the people that I'm really talking to. That's the reason why I say the things that I do out loud, because that's what I can help you to actually do as well.
But then when I think about that comment from that person, tell me about the people that you've helped right here, right? You've helped me level up, show up, do more, and be more. So that's how you've done it. And oh, I happen to pay you for it, but you're also worth it. But I don't necessarily feel like you're a bill or you're a friend, and I would rather pay a friend, but I don't even think about the money that I've spent with you because I'm a better person. And what I'm finding is because I'm leveling up with you and through you, you remind me of Taffy. You truly do. Because like I have my foot on a piece over here and you're stretching me, and then I'll have those thick pieces and I got to work through that. And then it's a little thin over here. And then you stretch me a little bit more and we get farther, and you never let me go. You hold me in a safe space, but you also stretch me past the potential that I don't know that I saw that I had because I was still looking externally, you know? So what's really cool about that is life's brighter, right? Because now as I've gotten to a place where I can be open to receiving the type of people that you are, and and other people around you that are far more bold. And I love the people that you surround yourself with that I'm starting to notice in other groups, because they're confident. They know they're this or they know they're that. And there's no shame or label, or I have to be humble or quiet, or I have to be a certain person or show up a certain way. Either you resonate with them or you don't, and that's the type of people I love to be around. You either resonate. I'm either for you or I'm not. And either way is okay.
Right.
I'm good with who I am.
Right.
But it's taken me a long time to be able to say that and go, really? Am I good? Do I have stuff I have to work on? Absolutely. But I'm much farther ahead in the 10-week course of mastering the brain game than I think I ever would have been, to the point where, right before I started it, we talked about this. I was looking at quitting Rossiter, didn't want to be an instructor. Wasn't sure I wanted to even finish Pilates school. And the beauty of it, you're like, it's okay. You didn't try and talk me into both of them or staying, or, I was just like, I'm getting rid of all this. I'll just go work at Starbucks. That's literally where I was at when I had to sit and just, and then I had to decide, did I want more? But could I actually give up teaching Rossiter? I love teaching it. I absolutely love it. Pilates, it's its own journey. I don't not love it. I love it, and I love it in a different way, but it's still because I'm learning and it's new. But mastering the brain game, I'm like, holy shit, when is the certification is going to happen? Because I can't wait to teach it, because so many people need it. And I think there will be better people because of it.
Yeah.
And in my world, it's the bodywork world. I look at when they see students come in, they learn Rossiter and then they leave. And I realize, 2 months later, they're not doing Rossiter anymore. They knew it worked in class and they're like, I don't know. And there's this dwindle of confidence, probably because they went and talked to their friends and talked to another body worker, and they talked them out of it because there's such a simplicity to Rossiter and they're trying to make it hard, which probably resembling their business. I've got to kill myself, do a bunch of bodies, make it hard in order to make a bunch of money because I got a family to feed. It's just this spiral versus let's hone it in. Let's go back to the simplicity. So I would want to be able to be that extra bit of help for people who choose to level up themselves to be better people through Rossiter, their business, and then they go home to a better person of themselves.
Right.
Then they impact the ripple of their families, right? Then kind of like the drop in the water you always talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, if they can be a better drop, then the next thing in the pool and the pond they choose to swim in just becomes amazing.
Yeah.
Like I saw a picture one day and it was this gal had painted her pool. Every pool was always blue. So everybody decides it always should be blue. Yep. Well, she had a pool and she painted it, it was red. And I'm like, holy shit, that is so cool. But nobody ever thought of it. Literally, it was a Facebook post. Nobody ever thought of it. Oh my God, I've never thought of that. Because we're so conditioned to look and see one way. Pools are blue at the bottom. They have a blue base, the ropes, everything, And the next thing you know, it takes one person to go, I'm going to have a red pool. And that's literally kind of what Master the Brain Game did. Holy shit, all these truths I took on all my life to be that I was so stuck on. Literally, I have a red pool now. Nope, I don't. Actually, I have a purple pool.
Yeah, and that's the simplicity in it. And that instead of deciding on a blue paint, you could decide on a red paint.
Yeah.
So simple. And that's really like what I talk about this is real life where you're already doing it. We just, like in this analogy here, here's the red paint row versus the blue paint row.
Yeah.
And it opens up all of the possibilities that you're talking about right there. Yeah. There's so many rabbit trails that I kind of want to take with that. And I don't know, like, I know we're like, I was planning on about 30 minutes. We're at 40 minutes right now, but should we take a couple of rabbit trails?
But think about it, right? Like I was like, I don't ever want to be a blue pool because that means I've accepted everything that society told me that it was, which was outside of me.
That I should be, that I should do. Right. Yeah.
That was probably one of the biggest things I got. Right when I hear the word should, I was like, no, what do I actually want?
Right.
And then somebody tells me I should. So it's interesting. I will say there are some challenges when you have people that are very close to you in facets like with friends and stuff, and you hear them talk. It's creating that balance and holding that peace within yourself, because I'm like, I love you, but I might have to let you go because I don't want to be where they're at in the misery that they're choosing to create.
Right.
Just and like I'm sure people let me go.
Yep.
Right? Like we met back then, but I was not one of your people. I was one of your people from a distance because I think you saw me like I might start to come through, but I wasn't in a mature enough place in my own growth that I was be somebody that you would have hung out with me every day.
Yeah.
Not because it was being mean or anything, but I could recognize that now to be like, she's leveled up. And that's why I say that I'll have some of that. Right. But it took me years to get there.
Yeah. I love the analogy of like, is it when Harry met Sally from that movie, like I'll have what she's having, right? Like, so that's why I say like, I'll have some of that, as in you're being very specific as to what you want, because this is, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I think of the, when Harry met Sally analogy, right? And the lady says, I'll have what she's having. And like, it's like this funny thing, but like she's faking it.
Yeah.
Right? It was so that's why I say I'll have that, because then you're being very directional. You're being very purposeful. And, you know, let's just call it what it is. We're in this massive awakening. We're in this massive conscious awakening as humans into what is possible. And so for those that are feeling like, I don't know, like I have, I believe that I've worked really hard and I've been proud of my hard work and I've hustled. That's okay, right? Been there, done that. I forced myself through 4 years of college. I hated every minute of it, but I thought I've got to do X to get to Y and then have Z. But I was willing. I was willing to like walk away from that and do something completely different because I followed my gut intuition. And that's really what we're talking about here, is like the gut intuition of, there might be something here that they're talking about in Mastering the Brain Game that's for me. You know, and so like that's, and it's purposeful. It's like, it's done, you like Cindy was sharing yesterday, 1 hour per week, because we want this to feel like, here's how I learned something for 1 hour. And then I become aware of it in my environment. I hear it differently. And then I come back the next week and I layer that in and I layer that in. And before you know it, like you said, week 4, week 5, by week 10, I have so come through this I'm a different person on a cellular level. I have changed. Yeah.
Well, it's like I tell you, even like movies, TV, I don't see them the same at all.
You never will.
Crazy. And what's so fascinating is you'll hear things in a Hollywood movie that I turn around and I'm like, I just heard that in a movie and they're using those same words in the news. And your brain picks up on it. Like you're like, oh, you start looking for it. Yeah, or you don't look for it, but you notice it. And before I was not aware of it.
Right. And it's there, right? Yeah. Okay. I have one more question for you. You ready? What's possible for you now that you've gone through Mastering the Brain Game? You've done the Rise Tribe. What's possible?
Well, really anything. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything I want or choose to be is possible.
Yeah. And it's probably safe to say that that's not how you felt in 2017, right?
Right, because I would have looked at it back then. It's so funny. Like sometimes I feel like you're in my head somewhere. I literally thought that this morning. I'm like, what was once probable now is possible.
Yeah.
I literally woke up thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably do this, but I don't know. Or if I had all this and if all the pieces were aligned, and I'm like, totally possible. How am I going to do it? I'm still letting go of the house because I'm such a structured and I'm letting go of that. but I'm definitely farther ahead than I was because I like that structure and how are we going to do it? How are we going to plan? And when's this going to happen? And when can I be certified? And when can I get over it? When can I teach my first class? And still have that, but I also honor that part of me that still has the fire to keep me knowing that there is possibility.
Right.
You know, but I'm not stuck on the probable because I'm so stuck in my head of all the things that could go wrong, because all I know is it can always go right. And when something doesn't feel good, then it's not meant for me.
Right. Absolutely. Right. The hows are not only none of your, like, not your responsibility, but it's none of your business.
Yeah.
That'll be provided. But for the people that like really like the structure also, because I enjoy the structure as well. So we give you the structure, right, of it. You have your, for the doers out there, you have your what to do, but you also understand that the hows, the filling in, the all of the stuff that you've been doing is 99% of it can just be wiped out. Stop doing it. Stop forcing yourself to post on social media. Stop, forcing yourself to go to the workout. Stop doing all that stuff because you're creating an energetic disconnect anyways, because you don't want to do it. And so when you force yourself to do it, you're already set yourself up for failure, for not accomplishing what it is that you're setting out to do. So yeah, but again, like all of those hows get filled in Mastering the Brain Game, right?
They do.
So, okay, I have one more question.
Okay.
I'm a Pilates teacher, so I say one more rep, and I'm like, just kidding, one more rep. Just kidding, one more question.
I've learned that since I still can't count the 100 for crap. Really? I'm like, I don't know. I think we've got a few more to go.
Okay. What would you say to someone right now that might be like a little on the I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I could do this because it seems like whatever it might be. What would you say to someone that's just like considering this? That I gave the countdown to, and they were like, yeah, I think, and then they got maybe in their head about it.
Well, if what you've been doing isn't working and something comes your way, why would you not? Yeah. And I get that because there's so many things that come our way, right? And we have to filter in and out, and everybody's got a great new thing. But for me, when I really realized it, is that I was on the fence and it was like, well, should I do this? Should I do that? And I didn't know what the program would be, and I didn't know I would be this excited for it. But if somebody's on the fence, then again, they're reaching outside of themselves to look for an answer.
Yeah.
So if it's in there, as you say, the divine timing circle of where they should be in life, and they did that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, yes, right? But where else are you holding back? So just do it. If you get that, if that first answer is yes, go. If the first answer is no, truly, and you're in your heart, then maybe the next round coming up, or maybe when I teach it, hint, 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 but truly, I think that's where, when I first did it, I was no, and then I tried to talk myself out of it. Well, I don't know if I should do this. Well, I don't know if I have the money.
Right.
Yeah,
it's so true. I love that you added in the answer was no and you were truly in your heart about it, right? Because if you were in fear mode, then you weren't in the heart. If you were in lack mode, then you weren't in the heart. So
there have been some classes that I wanted to do, that I thought would be a class you and I just took, and there was a sales school, and I was like, oh my gosh, and here I was again drawn to another cool thing. However, I was more drawn to it because it's one of your mentors, so the influence that you have on me, because I believe that you've got a pond of amazing people. So that's when I was kind of wanting to dip my toe. But then I was actually able to go, no, I don't actually. As much as I would love to do that course, it's not ready for me now. Right. It will be down the road. But I still have to do the inner work of what Mastering the Brain Game allows me to do, so that when I choose to do the courses that I would like to do that do speak to me, for the ones that I do need structure in, of learning frameworks, just to literally learn tools, not to better myself, but to learn tools of framework for something that I don't know. Facebook Lives, marketing, all of that type of stuff, to learn how to do it different for the technology we have. Coming from that's where it's different. So it was more of it's a no for now. But at least I was able to be aligned with myself and understand that no. But I probably would have jumped on it had I not done Master the Brain Game, had buyer's remorse, and then done the same I've always done. Another program I spent money on, it didn't work for me.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. It's we can have the strategies, we can know the step by steps like of what I should be doing to build my business. But if you're not doing it, or you're doing it and it's not working, here's your foundation. Here's the reason why, right? And the how to apply all of the things that you actually want to do. You actually like the strategies you want to implement. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Well, and I can take all the courses in the world, but if I don't know what I want truly from my heart, then the course isn't going to matter. Right. And I think that's why you see so many courses out there that like some people, like I still love to this day the Tony Robbins course. I still have one of the ones that I bought but I sat there in some of the groups and I'm like, and I can watch the groups. Why is it working for the rest of you and it's not working for me? And I think the difference that I see now through Master the Brain Game is those people chose to do the work on themselves first, however they figured it out. And in my opinion, from some of the stuff I've watched them do, they figured it out the hard way versus just a quick 10-week Mastering the Brain Game, right. Even though I know it's implementing it every day, but because I know we're, not to go too far down a rabbit hole. However, it's what they've done within themselves, to themselves, for themselves, and they come out differently. And that's where their acceleration is. So yeah, that's where I think that the Mastering the Brain Game completely changes it, because it will change everything you do forward. You can't unlearn what you learn in it, and you can't not apply it. And even if you don't believe in it, it will still leave you in a different place.
Right.
And I didn't even do I will be honest, I didn't necessarily do the homework. I'm like, I got this. I don't know what she's talking about. I got this. I don't want to do it. And I did, right? And so now going through it, I'm actually doing the homework.
Yeah.
Because I still had to look at myself within myself. And it was in the beginning, too much ego kicked in.
Yeah.
I don't need to write down what she's telling me to write down. I can do it.
Yeah. And the homework, for anyone that's listening, you're like, well, I thought you said an hour a week. Yes. The homework is your awareness too.
Yeah.
Right. There's like maybe 5 minutes worth of homework every week that is like some stuff we'll write down. Some journaling, but more than anything, it's exactly what you're talking about. I call it soul work, where it is just your awareness to your environment. And so you're already doing it. It's not like extra work that you get to do, right? You're already doing it, become so aware of it. And then, like you said, the people that through the Tony Robbins, because you said that the program that you did, that seem to have accomplished the things. Did they really, right? I'm just going to throw this out there for everyone to just consider. Did they really, or was that perceived? And was that perceived because they projected it, or because that's what it looked like? Because again, if we use the only 6% cross the 6-figure mark of entrepreneurs as a measure to, again, we're going back to social media. What are you putting out there? How much is it that it is actually true? And so, not saying either or, you get to decide for yourself. So did I believe that these other people actually accomplished something through it because of whatever it might be? Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I feel like
I could just keep talking to you now. From sweaty palms, legs shaking.
Yeah. And like I told you, this really can just be when we're having a conversation, right? When we're having a conversation in the Rise Tribe, when we can get really deep in there, we can talk about really conscious things. But I'll meet you wherever you're at. So that's exactly what this is. So I
got on, I'm like, this will be done in 3 minutes, because I'll probably pass out.
Stop. We'll be like, Mocha. So for anyone the fear, right? The willingness, can you see the fear in this? It's Mocha was so afraid to do this live, and to quote, what's that Wedding Crashers? Or what's the show called that I was talking about yesterday with you?
Oh, was it Hangover?
The Hangover, yeah. But did you die? You did double the time that I was anticipating on a live, right? Did you die?
Oh, double. I did an entire 50 minutes more than I thought we would be here. I was like, well, that'll be the shortest one she's ever done.
Oh my gosh, you're too funny. All right. This is gonna the fun we get to have in the Rise Tribe as well. So for anyone that is still in that gut visceral response, just tell me what to do. Here's your special offer that I promised. A full pay, it's $1,500 for Mastering the Brain Game. I am gifting the Rise Tribe for a year. The Rise Tribe is a $1,200 investment. You get that. This offer is good until we start on 1/11 for a few more days. I do these kind of offers because it helps to incentivize, like we were talking about the Rise Tribe with Master the Brain Game, right? It helps you to see the possibilities when you're in community with other people in the Rise Tribe. So that's the reason why I do that offer. I also do it because it's a little bit of like we were talking about before, I'm the mentor that will call you on your bullshit in the most lovingly way. And so I like just a little bit of a nudge forward into it, right? On top of that, I will also give you lifetime access to Mastering the Brain Game with me whenever I teach it live.
That's huge.
Huge.
Really. That's the Rise Tribe creates such a safe space to be able to filter out. Sometimes you just need a place to talk to in a community that gets it, even if not everyone's done Mastering the Brain Game, but they get it from a distance. You know, that's a big deal. But the lifetime thing, I'm actually going through it again and I'm seeing it so differently, but I feel that I'm growing each time. Like they talk about that onion layer, you know, but it's truly a different growth. I'm in a different place and I want to be better than I was 10 weeks ago. And I even feel better than I am now.
Yeah.
So those are big bonuses.
Huge
I do sound like your commercial, don't I? I'm like, just do the thing. If you don't have the thing,
there's more.
The thing that's going to get you there.
Yeah. I know. I'm feeling like, let's see, it's a 6 energy day. Let's do this. I'm gonna throw one more thing in there. Like, but wait, there's more. But it just feels really good. So I'm gonna say it out loud. The first 3 people that sign up from here, it's like such an infomercial, but like from my heart, I'm going to give the next 3 people a private session or a semi-private with me. So those 3 people and me to come together and we can collaborate in a way where it'll feel just like so super semi-private. We can come together in a session and you've done private sessions with me, Mocha, right? Shit happens. Mm-hmm. We can cross out lifetimes worth of stuff you've been carrying in order to move you forward into the future. So I feel like the next 3 will be the 3 that, there's an energy that comes together for those 3 to, got my alarm to remind myself to pick up school supplies. So those 3 that come together that are synergistically meant to come together with me in the semi-private to really help amplify what it is that we'll do in this 2022 year. So that feels really good. I can feel those 3 like energies. They feel very vast. So
well, and you said it kind of like a bleep, but a lifetime of work. I think that's what's so fascinating because that is possible when I've done like sessions with you. All the acupuncture, I did even like talk therapy and just things that I've done to think that I needed were still something outside of me.
Yeah.
Completely outside of me. You truly can. It's just knowing how to find the right people, of somebody that has the ability to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the seer in me. So, with love again. So, all right. That feels really good.
A lot of people in a lot of the modalities of all the things, especially with my mom, all the people that I've met, and they all have their own unique, really cool skill set. But it's almost like you've been able to encompass it all into one body named Chantel.
And then into you, right? And then into it's that ripple effect of cells dividing and just becoming more of what they were. And so that feels really good. So
I'm grateful for you. So thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm grateful for you as well. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to do this. Thank you for showing people the possibilities of doing something really hard. That's really nervous, like palm sweating. I might pass out, but I'm doing it.
Sweating.
You're so funny. Okay, just to recap really fast. The special offer that I'm doing is gifting the Rise Tribe for a year and lifetime access to Mastering the Brain Game. The first 3 people will get to have a semi-private with me where we can map out your 2022. It really will be like a session where I feel like we might end up like scratching, like you said, wiping out lifetimes worth of stuff that you've been carrying that you no longer need to. Okay. All right. I will drop the link down below in my private Facebook page. Mocha, I love you. I adore you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for doing this.
Love you too, girl. Good to see you.
See you, everyone.